I have been every voice.
You are the chosen one!
Anakin! Anakin!
This is where the fun begins.
Inside your head.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we're going to be looking at some more set leaks for Obi-Wan Kenobi. We're also going to be talking about Darth Vader and more. As always my dear Megalorians, before I dive into the news, please may I ask you to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted each and every time that I post new content. So just a little heads up guys, there are some big things coming to this channel and I've got some interviews and conversations with actors who've been in Star Wars, and you can expect one of them to drop as soon as this weekend. But without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So here we go, Kenobi Set Leaks exclusive Obi-Wan Kenobi set pictures may tease old Ben Kenobi's hut. So according to this source, which is StarWarsTime.net, they were sent some exclusive shots of the set from LA, and while the quality may be off, they do appear to show a structure that could be Obi-Wan's hut. The source goes on to state that two people were being filmed for a scene, and those two people are most likely to be Obi-Wan Kenobi and Uncle Owen. So at first glance, your eyes might be telling you this is the Lars homestead, but after some careful examination, you'll realise that the structure of this house is more similar to Obi-Wan's hut. A final thing to note is that the volume isn't being used for this set. Rather, it's enclosed in a makeshift arena of cargo containers and what appears to be large blue panels for the CGI to be added later. Super exciting stuff because it means things are really kicking off with production. So we're gonna stay on the topic of Obi-Wan Kenobi for the meantime because Ewan McGregor has reflected on the prequels and the upcoming show Obi-Wan Kenobi. The title of this one is Obi-Wan's Ewan McGregor reflects on returning to Star Wars in the age of prequels appreciation. Needless to say, the Star Wars prequels have had a rough couple of decades, from seemingly universal mockery to a renewed level of appreciation as the audiences that watch them as children reappraise their strengths. Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, Ewan McGregor reflected on how his excitement to be part of Star Wars was initially dampened by fan reaction to the prequel films. In his own words, he says, "It was hard that they didn't get well received. That was quite difficult, they were universally not very much liked. But times have changed for both the actor and the prequels, not just because of their audiences growing up and reclaiming the trilogy as their own slice of Star Wars, but because over the years the franchise itself has recontextualized and revisited the storytelling of the era to flesh out the things that people appreciated the most about its world, from the novelizations to the Clone Wars." Speaking about the upcoming series Obi-Wan Kenobi, he states, "I'm really excited about it. Maybe more so than the first ones because I'm older, I just turned 50 and I'm in a much better place." He went on to criticize the use of green screen in the prequels, stating that it was very frustrating. As such, he's very excited to see what 2021 technology can do for Star Wars. In his own words, it's going to feel so much more real. Now, as a woman who grew up watching the prequels and viewing them as my own slice of Star Wars, I do have a lot to say on this matter. Growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s, we were all used to the excessive use of CGI. So much so, in fact, that no youngster really called it out. The prequel trilogy came out during this time period, and so in a way, the visual effects in those films were very much the product of their day. Looking back, of course, many movies of the 2000s aged horribly, but in my opinion, the Star Wars prequels aren't included in that. Give or take a few scenes in Attack of the Clones, I think they still hold up very well. Maybe I'm saying that because of the bias I have for the prequels, and perhaps I'm perceiving them with nostalgia-coloured glasses, but I do stand by this statement. I guess what's hard to hear from Ewan McGregor is of course his dismay at the reception of the prequels. George Lucas has spoken about this, Hayden Christensen, Jake Lloyd, Ahmed Best, Ian McDiarmid, and many others have also spoken out about the toxicity in the fandom, specifically at the time of the prequels. I really am thankful as a prequels fan that the prequels are currently going through a honeymoon phase, but we can't forget that in their day the prequels were hated just as much, if not more so, than the sequels are hated today. In this fandom, history very much repeats itself, and there have always been toxic factions of this fandom. I've said it before and I'll say it again, give it 15 years and people will be praising the sequel trilogy. It's only natural, as Palpatine would say, because the kids of today who are growing up with the Disney Star Wars trilogy will be just as attached as we are to the prequels, and how OG Star Wars fans are attached to the originals. But if you were or still are a prequel skeptic, I'm willing to bet that Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to change your mind. With the practical effects being used on the set combined with what filming technology is capable of these days, you're gonna have your mind blown, I'm pretty sure of it. But yeah guys, let me know your thoughts of this in the comments down below, and let's move on to our next topic. So the comic Darth Vader number 11 by Greg Pak is out, and it reveals something massive to us. universe. The truth behind Palpatine's cloning experiments on Exegol. If you remember in the Rise of Skywalker we had loads of Snoke tanks, well they appear in this comic as well. And it's implied that the hands that Luke lost in The Empire Strikes Back is being used for cloning purposes, which basically means that Snoke is indeed created using Luke's DNA. I've seen this theory before many years ago, but now it seems to be confirmed. A lot of people stated that in The Last Jedi Snoke has very similar eye colour to Luke. Well, now it seems to be confirmed. We just have to wait and see what the implications of this have on the Mandalorian universe and going forward in Star Wars content, but this is pretty massive. I've heard people state that if Gideon is working for Palpatine, that would explain why they need Grogu's blood. Perhaps he's a better source of midichlorians than a severed hand. However, it's still a possibility that Gideon is working for Thrawn, since he did dabble in cloning in Legends. We basically have a lot of questions that need answers. But that's not the only thing that this comic reveals. It also shows us how Palpatine's ships were built on Exegol, as we see in episode 9. While the film never fully explained the ships used in the Final Order, this new comic finally does. In the comic, Vader finally arrives on Exegol seeking answers from after he was forced to reassemble himself on Mustafar. He rejects the Sith Lord as his master and attacks Palpatine with the same Summa Verminoth used to protect Exegol, but the Sith Lord kills the massive monster immediately. Palpatine then takes Vader on a tour of his secret base, which includes a closer look at his cloning processes, his cultists, and most impressively his fleet of thousands of Star Destroyers. As Vader stares over the Armada, Palpatine tells him his fleet of Star Destroyers is 1,000 times more powerful than anything the galaxy's fought before. Vader senses a powerful force and continues walking through the base, leading him to a massive piece of kyber crystals. It's revealed the crystal, usually used for creating lightsabers as well as powering the Death Star in Star Wars Rogue One, is what's being harvested to power the Star Destroyer's planet-destroying cannons. The comic provides the first glimpse into the creation of the Star Destroyer fleet, which seemed like a sudden plot convenience in the Rise of Skywalker. With an abundance of kyber crystals on Exegol, Palpatine was able to get his cultists to harvest it to prepare for his own final order. It's unclear how long Palpatine has been working on the Sith Armada up until this point, but the closer glimpse reveals it's been in production for quite a while. So I do recommend that you guys check out this comic. Let me know your thoughts of today's news update in the comments down below. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also guys, if you're feeling generous, please consider becoming a patron, where for just $2, $10 or even $50 a month, you get exclusive access to content that's not found here on YouTube. And finally guys, an announcement. To celebrate Star Wars Day, brand new t-shirts are coming to my merch store. From now until the end of May, you get 20% off the entire store by using code SWM20. If you are or if you become a patron, you get a further 30% off, which means 50% off the entire store. With a whole new range of Mandalorian t-shirts and many more on the way, don't miss out. All you have to do is follow the link in the description and simply use the code SWM20 at checkout. I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.